This week in VCT, a total of 9 Pacific teams will have academy teams next year. Some interesting Rostermania stuff, including Edward Gaming, and looks like Ye will be coming back to Americas. And let's first start off with that rumor regarding Ye, that being he'll be joining Evil Geniuses with Sim, and this was reported by Purist. It's great that Ye will be back in Americas. We obviously we know the absolute shit show which was Bleed Esports last year. I mean, that was just a massive disappointment where we all thought this team might do well. They might be competitive. They might be, if not, maybe midfield. No, they won only one game in the entire season. It was pretty bad. But I think now with him going to Evil Geniuses, they actually maybe have some good potential players, like good pieces. Hell, I mean, looks like they'll be keeping like Nature, Derek, and Superman, which is great. And adding Simon, I think Ye will be pretty good here. I don't think EG are going to be amazing, but I think they're going to be kind of where I expect them to be, maybe around this year, where they were like mid pack at best. That's where I kind of thought EG was going to be this year, and that's where I also think this potential team might be as well next year in 2025. But I think this is a great change if it does happen. I think Sim as well. He's also a very promising player as well. So I think this is a good choice. Next up, it is from Alejandro, and it is Leviathan Netank. Yeah, I was not expecting to see this rumor. The tank, obviously, formerly used to play for Gentlemates over in the EMEA region, and is looking like he'll be now moving to the Americas region. I don't know what to think about this. Like, I have no idea. Like, I was not okay. The tank in his first season of VCT, he was alright. He was pretty good. He definitely had some moments, but he was pretty good in my opinion. I still think Cadavra was maybe their best player in my opinion. But the tank, he was definitely up there. But with him to join Leviathan alongside players like Com, Demon One, like two players that have won champs before and on the international stage, having Tax, who was pretty good, King, who's looking like a very, very good IEGL. This Leviathan team could maybe surprise me. Generally, I mean, I just don't know how the tank is gonna go with this completely new system. He's so used of like playing with French players maybe, and now for the first time I think in his career he's not gonna play with French players. So I don't know how good his English is. That's the main thing because I'm guessing they're gonna be commenting in English. So I'll be interested if it actually happens. But I mean, it's definitely a surprising fifth player. Next up, now this one is from Waquel Faria. I do apologize if I do mispronounce her name, but it is maybe one of the most surprising possible acquisitions I've seen. MIBR Aspas. Yes, the team that has always been at the very bottom of the table in 2 seasons will be getting Aspas, potentially getting Aspas, I should say. And I think this is great. I mean, it definitely will help MIBR as a whole, as an organization to gather more fans. So I can definitely understand that. The problem I have is I just don't know what the roster is going to be. Because I thought that Arton was a pretty good duelist player. Yes, I mean, is he better than some other duelist players in the Americas region? Maybe not. But if we're talking about just in MIBR as a whole, I thought he was pretty good. I thought he was alright. So I'm a bit surprised on that Aspas will be going to MIBR. But at the same time, I mean, even Zelta's talked about it as well on Twitter that it's actually pretty good for the Brazilian scene, especially for a team like MIBR, who has always been at the very bottom. It's been basically an afterthought in the Brazilian scene and entirety as well of the Americas region as well. So with them to get a star player like Aspasim, I think this actually really might be pretty good. So even though it is maybe one of the strangest changes that we have seen so far, I think that this move right here for MIBR will definitely help them not only gather more fans, but also get the results. Next up is a rumor from Tanmay, the Chinese scene, that being FunPlus Phoenix, Yosemite, and York. Okay, well, first off, we need to know about FPX's position. Obviously, they lost Lysol to Wolves Esports. They're adding Yosemite in, which I think is a pretty good choice. If you think about it in the Chinese scene, who's maybe the best option to potentially replace Lysol, who I think is still a very, very good player, he definitely Yosemite, definitely up there as a potential candidate. So I'm glad that they're getting him. The question mark I have is York, and is looking like that he will be the coach for the team alongside Nathan D. I thought Guy was fine. That's like I'm just surprised that York will be coming into FPX. But obviously maybe there's something that FPX saw in York that they generally liked, but I'm not too sure, considering that he was supposed to be the coach for Titan Esports Club, then he turned himself into a player, and he didn't get played at all. I mean, that's extremely useless, just because he had a drive and had a passion of playing, even though you were supposed to be a coach. Alright. But, I mean, it's definitely a weird change with York coming in. I do think he will help this team be better, in my opinion. But at the same time, he used to be tough. He used to be a player and a coach for Titan Esports Club, and that team was shit. As for Yosemite, I'm very excited to see how he goes. I think Yosemite will be the best choice that FPX has on the free agency market. But to be fair, the Chinese market has been very quiet, and I think like majority of the teams will be keeping their entire roster. Like I think like Nova will be keeping their roster. Who else? I'm trying to think of right now. Not JD Gaming, because they obviously announced that Sword 9 will be joining them for some reason. Like I guess yeah, like biggest ones like Nova Esports will be saying the same. Uh, that's really about it. I think if I can remember, but I don't know how to feel about this York potential code change, but we'll see. Next up, it is from Alejandro Gomez. Now, this was rumored for quite a long time. It just there wasn't any like, I guess to say, a credible source because majority of them was from the spreadsheet. But it is Giant X, Runner, and Tomazi. Now, I think the Runner one was rumored for quite a long time. He even played for Giant X in the I can't remember what to call right now. It's pissing me off. The tournament that it was both the VCT roster and the GC roster playing together. I think Giant X actually won that, so there we go then. Tamazi, that was a bit of a surprise. I don't think Tamazi was rumored to be joining Giant X, I believe. I know that the other potential rumors that maybe CM might be joining the team, but I'm not too sure though. But for Runner, I think, I mean, he was alright in Team Vitality. He definitely struggled when he was on the duelist role, even though there was quite a lot of hype behind him. I think even though he might not like the Sentinel role, but generally I think the Sentinel role might be better for him, just because that I mean, what Giants actually have Purpo in, and I think Purpo is a phenomenal duelist player. So I think him in the Sentinel role is pretty good. As for Tamazi, now that's definitely a good change in my opinion. I mean, he used to play for Command Core. That team was amazing. They obviously won kickoff. They qualified to Madrid. Not too well there, but I think in every stage, stage one, stage two, they were always contenders of actually making it to the international stage. So they were definitely up there. So with Tamazi, who used to be a duelist player, just like Runner, but has now moved over to the controller role, I believe. I mean, I thought Tamazi was still very, very good, I'll be honest, for this team. There was definitely a lot of question marks coming into this team as majority of them were duelist players. So it was like, who's going to be the duelist player? But Tamazi, he was still very, very good on the controller role, in my opinion. I think this will definitely help Giant X to move forward into 2025. Gentlemate's also looking as well to add another coach, that being McWonka, thanks to Alejandro Gomez as the rumor. I think that McWonka is a pretty good coach. He used to coach for BBL Esports, and I think he also used to coach for UCAM Esports Club, I believe. So he has been mainly in the Spanish region, and obviously he joined BBL Esports pretty late into the 2024 season. So with him to join Gentlemates, I'm pretty sure as a head coach, I don't think both coaches are gone as well from that squad. So with him as well to be the new head coach of the team is very, very, very good. So I think that's definitely going to be a good change for Gentlemates and a step forward as well. And already with the roster that they have, like Robbie BK, I'm pretty sure is going to be there. Mini, I believe. They're keeping Cadaver, which I like. I still think Cadaver was one of their best players, and I stand on ground for that. So with him to be joining the team, I think it's going to be a great season for Gentlemates. And the final rumor is another one from Tanmay, that being Boom Esports DOS9. Now this was also very surprising. DOS9 will become the second Kazakhstani player to be joining the VCT season. I'm pretty sure, the domestic player season. If not, then DOS9 will be the first Kazakhstani player, which is cool. I'm a bit surprised because I thought they were going to sign an Indonesian player. Flip is still available. So I'm a bit surprised that Boom Esports will be looking to sign DOS9. There's obviously a little... Okay, there's no disrespect to DOS9. I thought he was very, very good on Revenant Esports, in my opinion. He was very, very impressive there. But I just thought that I thought Boom were going to go for a full Indonesian team. That's what I thought it was going to be. So, with a Kazakhstani player joining, it's still pretty good, especially for that country, because to be fair, it is extremely difficult to find a team in Kazakhstan. You really need to go to another region, I'll be honest. I mean, it's difficult just to get any teams in Kazakhstan. So with DOS9 potentially coming in for Boom Esports, I think this is a great change. I'm excited to see how he goes in the VCT stage, because like I said, I thought he was very, very good on Revenant Esports, and he was pretty impressive. So I'm very excited to see how that goes. Now for the news throughout the week, I just want to talk about this pretty quickly. That being Riot announcing that 9 of the 12 Pacific teams will have academy teams, which is pretty cool. In Korea, we obviously have T1, Genji, and DRX. In Japan, we obviously have Z Division and Destination Focus Me. In Southeast Asia, we have Rexwick and Keon, or RQ, I should say, Talon Esports and Team Secret. And obviously in South Asia, we have Global Esports, which is cool. I mean, I think it was rumored that, okay, because we already know that Z Division has an academy team, DRX has an academy team, I think T1 are looking, I'm pretty sure also has one as well. But everyone else, they haven't, like, we haven't gotten any confirmation of what the roster will look like for these teams. I'm pretty sure majority of them are still recruiting. I think the only one I think is kind of big confirmed, I think is T1, I believe. I think T1 have announced their academy team, but obviously I could easily be wrong. It's cool that all these teams are taking advantage of the academy team system, which is great. It is worth noting as well that these academy teams will have a direct slot into the respective leagues, bypassing the promotion and regulation in 2025. However, they won't be eligible for Ascension Pacific. Now, I did see a lot of people really questioning this of why would you join one of these academy teams if you can't even qualify for Ascension Pacific. I think the answer mainly is that these players will have a solidified future. I mean, it's very difficult to even get a career in Valorant or even in esports as a whole, just because your future is always in question. You don't know what is going to happen in the future. Like, you could be kicked the next day, you just would not know. So that's kind of where it's like, well, at least they'll have a future, at least in Valorant and in esports. But at the same time, I guess it doesn't really show their true potential, I guess to say, against the other regions. I guess also my other question is, if one of these teams do win the qualifiers for Ascension, is it just gonna be like the next team that is an academy team that will qualify for Ascension to represent that region? Which is a bit strange, but at the same time, I mean, you don't really want a situation where the academy team wins the Ascension tournament. Let's just say it was Gen G's academy team winning the Ascension tournament for Pacific, then you're just gonna have two Gen G teams. Like, I don't think there's really a purpose there. Academy teams are supposed to help young players get into that main roster. And generally, I think this is a great idea for these academy teams to not be eligible for Ascension, just because it'll be a bit unfair and it'll be also be a confusion as well if these teams do win Ascension, for example, and they qualify. So that's just in my opinion, though. But I quite like this that yeah, like I keep saying, 9 Pacific teams are doing this. I just wish that, I mean, we already know that BBL will technically have an academy team as well. Americas, I don't think have any academy teams to my knowledge, so we're kind of waiting for the Americas scene to actually, come up and have some academy teams, including China as well. But I know China's rumored to have a couple. I think TEC and Tyloo are rumored to be having some academy teams. I think as well America. I think EG might even have some as well. But that's all I really remember or I really know about from both of those regions. But it's cool though that at least Pacific they have quite a lot of support behind. So that's obviously a great sign there. Now for Rostermania. First up with Evil Geniuses as they have to say goodbye to Apoth. To be fair, it's fair. It makes sense. I'm sorry to Apoth, but he was I I don't want to sound too disrespectful, but he was just a bit irrelevant. I mean, he was good in one game, I remember, and that's really about it. That's all I could really remember about Apoth. He was extremely, I do mean extremely quiet. So that's the problem. That's the thing I have with Apoth. I mean, I was very, very surprised when he was announced to be coming back to EG, just because, I mean, why? Like, he hasn't really proven to be a tier 1 player. I think if he comes back down to tier 2, he might be very, very good there. But I just don't know if he was ready to be coming back up to tier 1. That was the problem. But I think he could definitely find a team in tier 2. Next up, it is an acquisition from NRG of Strong joining this team. He used to be a coach for Team Vitality for a bit, but I guess mainly well known he used to be a coach for Oglu or OG London United, that weird partnership team that happened back in 2022. I'm surprised. I mean, this was not rumored at all. I mean, this was kind of blindsided, I'll be honest. So with Strong joining the team alongside Bonka, I think that's great. Really, really surprised about that, and really good as well. I mean, I think Strong, he's a pretty good coach. I think as well with Bonka, he's definitely going to help this team a lot this year. Well, I should say in 2025 after a very struggling 2024 season. So I think Strong will be very, very good for the team as the assistant coach for the team. Titan Esports Club have poached 2 very important asset players, or I should say coaches as well, from Edward Gaming, that being Haldong and After joining this team. After will be the new head coach for the team, while Haldong will be the player. I'm guessing will be the new IGL. I think he'll be replacing Arbor as a new IGL. But obviously, that could easily be wrong. Maybe he's not going to be the IGL, but I don't really know. I know that they are playing in the I can't remember what tournament it is, the Chinese tournament that has like XLG, Wolves, Nova, Dragon Rage Gaming are in it as well, all gamers, and they bombed that immediately. So that's not a good sign if they bombed out immediately after that, after making this pretty surprising and pretty big change to their team. I still think that these Chinese teams need to make more changes. I mean, you can't just stop it there with just one player change or one coach change. You need to have an overhaul. And that's what I don't like about some of these teams like Nova Esports, for example, or especially Titan Esports Club. Teams that didn't really do much last year are making like one single change. They're hoping that'll be it. I mean, you need to do more. I'm sorry. You need to do more changes to be to be good. Like the Titan Esports Club from 2024 was absolutely shit. I mean, you had only maybe 2 players that were impressive. That have been Arbo and RB. That's it. I mean, AC, he was nowhere. Z2, he was nowhere. Black, he was nowhere. Like, none of these players, AC as well. I mean, AC was alright though. I think I said AC. But my point stands that this team, especially Titan Esports Club, needs to make more changes, and they can't just add just one player, one coach, and thinking that'll fix it. No, they need to make more changes. So I don't like these Chinese teams making one single movement change and hoping that will change everything. I mean, you could say that it might maybe help Wolves, considering that Wolves has been pretty impressive in that tournament. But for Titan Esports Club and as well for Tyloo, no, they need to make more changes. EMEA has been quite busy as well, as Apex have to say goodbye to KX, Soulcast, and Desmo. We know where two of the three people will be going. We know that KX will be going to Fnatic, while Soulcast will be going to Koi. As for Desmo, not too sure. That was a bit of a surprising departure there. But we already know that KX and Soulcast will be leaving to go to different teams. I'm not too sure where Desmo could go. Could he go back down to tier 2? Could he maybe even find a home in tier 1? I think he might. In my opinion, I think he's a very, very good coach, in my opinion. So, but I don't know. I mean, but the more question is that what is Apex going to do? Because two players are gone. Then who are they going to replace these players with? That is the question I have for this team. BBL Esports have announced their players and the coach as well, along with Lewin. We have Yampi as the IGL, Profec, Sociably, Chiwa, and joining the team as the coach is Pal. Pretty surprising there. So, obviously, Yampi kind of needs no introduction. Used to play for Team Liquid, I think, since the very beginning of when he started Valorant after he got banned from CS, I believe. He's now going to be joining BBL Esports, which is pretty cool. I think this team will be very, very good under his own leadership. Profec, he is a promising player. Used to play for Go Next Esports, I believe, and Go Next, obviously, they were very, very good in the East region, and also pretty good as well in the Essential tournament as well. But they kind of bombed down. And I thought that they were going to be very, very competitive. I don't think they even made it to the playoffs, I believe. So I guess you can say that was a bit of a disappointment there, but generally, I think Profec, he's a phenomenal player. And we have two veteran players in the Valorant scene, Sociably and Chiwa. Sociably has been in the Tier 2 Turkish scene for a while now. Last time he used to play for Fireflux Esports, I believe, and Fireflux was alright. I think they were always in the top 4, I believe, in that region. So Sociably will be very, very good. As for Chiwa, he used to play for Ascend. That was the most recent team. He also pretty sure played as well a bit for Go Next Esports when he was on loan from Ascend. So, I mean, I guess you could say that Chiwa and Profec used to be were teammates in the past, and now now here they are now teammates now. But obviously, Chiwa, he was on loan from Ascend, so I guess that's a bit different there. As for Pal, I was very surprised. Pal used to be the coach for Focus. He was also helping out a bit with Team Vitality and Champions, I believe, as the analyst for the team. So, I mean, I guess you can say that he already has some experience in Tier 1. Markney, well, he'll be joining alongside Markney as a coach. I think Markney will still be the head coach of the team though, so that's okay. But looking at this roster right now, I think this team will be very competitive. I mean, they have some great pieces. They have young proteges of Lua and Profec. They have veteranship leadership like Yampi, Sociably, and Chiwa. So this BBL team might be very, very competitive. Mystic and Enzo have to say goodbye to Team Liquid as they have left the team. No surprises here, I'll be honest. I mean, both of these players were a bit underwhelming, in my opinion. It's a bit disappointing considering that Mystic and Enzo, both of them have been in the scene for a while now. Hell, Enzo even used to play for Fnatic as a stand-in, I believe. So it's a bit disappointing for both of these players. Mystic as well used to play for Fnatic, and he was part of that first grand final Reykjavik against Sentinels. So it's disappointing for those two players. I hope these two can find a home. I think they definitely will, in my opinion, but it's just gonna be so difficult now in Tier 2 just because most of I think like some of these, if not maybe most of these Tier 2 teams are looking to maybe sign proteges, like young players that the team can work on to potentially as well help them make up to Tier 1. As for like Mystic and Enzo, their career is a bit I mean, I'm not too sure how their career is going to be, just because they have been up in tier 1, they went down to tier 2, and now they're back up to tier 1, and now they're a bit lost. So I don't know what their future is now with those two players, but hopefully they do find a home. Next up is Foot Esports. They have now announced that Zeus will be joining the team. I think he'll be replacing CNET, I believe. This is another young Turkish protege that Foot can definitely take advantage of. I mean, how we saw how EDG was this year, and he was very, very, very impressive. So I think they would definitely as well do the same thing that they did with EDG with Zeus. He used to play for Eternal Fire, I believe. So he has, I think Eternal Fire has been a top 4 team, I believe, but I could easily be wrong. I can't remember all the results so far. But Zeus, I'm very excited to see how he goes. I think he'll be very, very good. He does have big shoes to fill of replacing CNED, reportedly, but we'll see how Zeus goes. But I think he's going to do very, very well. Gentlemates have basically removed everyone except for Cadavra. I mean, all the coaches are gone, all the players are gone as well. 2 players have actually found a home thanks to DVM Esports, which is basically their academy team. That being Takas and Logan. So both those players have already found a home, which is great. As for everyone else, I'm not too sure. I mean, I don't know where everyone else could go, I'll be honest. I mean, we know where Natank is going, reportedly going to Leviathan. But for everyone else, I don't know where they could go. I'm just happy that they kept Cadavra, just because I still think Cadavra is a very, very good player, and he's going to have some great players around him. I even forgot to talk about Zipan as well. I think like Zipan, he's rumored to be joining Gentlemates. Robbie BK, Mini. So I think this is a great potential roster for Gentlemates as well. And as well, Magwanka potentially joining this team. This team might be very, very good. Another team which potentially be very, very good is Team Vitality, as they have announced that Durka will be joining them from Fnatic. Yes, it has finally happened. I mean, this team is scary. I mean, having Kicks, who I could tell he has slowly improved throughout the year. He's been very, very consistent and has definitely improved a bit. You have Safe, who reportedly will be the new IGL for this team. You have Trex, who is maybe the most underrated player in my opinion. You have Les, who's a phenomenal Sentinel player, and Durka, a phenomenal duelist player. There is nothing wrong about this team. Generally, there is nothing wrong. This team is so good from head to toe. Like, look, we don't know what the coaches are going to be looking like, but it looks like Faded will be joining the team as a coach, which I think is still pretty good. He used to coach for TSM, and look where TSM ended. They ended in Ascension, in the Americas region. So Faded is definitely a very, very good coach. Does he have the potential to turn on Kicks, Durka, Safe, everyone in this team? Potentially, definitely. But the real question is, I guess, is this team going to live up to expectations, or are they going to flop? Because I know that, including myself, there is a lot of expectations on this team to do well. I mean, you have 2 players that have won international stage. I mean, hell, Les have won champs before. Durka has won 2 international stages before, Lock-in and Masters Tokyo. You have Safe, who has always been super good for whatever team that he plays on. Tracked, incredibly consistent. And Kicks, a young protege player who has been very, very good. So there I could tell there's a lot of pressure under this team to perform well. Genji has also officially announced their roster with Foxy9 and Yeoman. Wow, I mean, I was not expecting Foxy9 to join Genji, but yeah, here we are. Yeah, I guess you can say it's a bit funny that Foxy9 was part of a very popular Korean team of DRX, is now joining another popular Korean team of Genji, and that's quite funny there. But I still think it's a pretty good change for Genji. I think Foxy9 would be replacing Meteor, I believe. I don't know how good Foxy9 is against Meteor. I mean, that's a bit of a question mark for me. I generally thought Meteor was better than Foxy9, but I mean, I could tell as well that Foxy9 has been very, very impressive as well for DRX. As for Yeoman, this is maybe the best change that GNG has ever made. I mean, We know how amazing Young-man is. He is a phenomenal player. He used to play for Red Adam. He used to play as well for Nongshim Red Force. He was the IGL third team, and they almost made it to Ascension. That's how good this team is. So with Young-man joining the lineup, this will definitely help this team. And the final Rostermania news is that Juvenile has officially joined Global Esports. It is looking like that Global will be announcing their roster pretty soon. If not, maybe today after I post this video, which is 90% going to happen, knowing my luck. But having Juvenile in, I think this is great. He used to be coach for Leviathan as well in 2024. So, I mean, this is a great change. It's definitely sort of an upgrade compared to Spin and Big Time. No disrespect to them, obviously, but Juvenile is a very, very good coach in my opinion. So with a star state with a very, very good coach in this team, I mean potentially as well how good this roster is looking as well. This team might do well, but we know as well from the past experience of Global Esports, they have been a bit rocky, we'll say, with their roster, so it could easily end in tears. But hopefully that is not the case. And let's now talk about GameChangers. And first up with North America's Shopify Rebellion. No, it's no surprise at all. Have returned to defend their crown and champs as the first seed over FlyQuest Red, beating them in the grand final 3-0. Obviously, Shopify and FlyQuest will be at champs representing the Americas region. Behind both there will be it is YFPX in third. Fourth is Refrag. 5th through 6th, which includes Umphys and Misos Millionaires, and 7th through 8th, which includes Elation Vortex and Teddy Tactics. Then in China, a result to remember for ALGGC as the team won against Killer Angel Girls in the grand final 3-0 to represent the Chinese region in champs for the first time. Obviously, last year it was Chao Hui Edward Gaming. Now it is basically Ambitious Legend Gaming GC. Behind ALGGC in first, it is obviously Killer Angel Girls in second. Then we have Trace Esports GC in third, Nova Esports GC in fourth, 5th through 6th, which includes Hao Zhang Gaming and Dragon, 7th through 8th, which includes Yao Guang and Daiju. 9th through 12th, it is King Yu Gaming, Credit Gaming GC, Dream Chaser, and Team Unicorn. And 13th through 16th, which includes Nazan, Tila, Envy, Bing Esports, Supergirl, and Tailu GC. A lot of weird names in the Chinese region that I just probably butchered pronouncing. And that's really about it for this episode of This Week in VCT. So now, like, guys, to like, comment, and subscribe. It will really help me, especially on this channel. Comment down below on what you think, I guess, of the Pacific, or I should say of the 9 Pacific teams that will have in academy teams. And as well, how you think Ye is going to go in Evil Geniuses. So that's really about it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Catch you guys next time in the next one. Goodbye.